Hello, happy stampers. This is Kate with Kate's Paper Creations, and I welcome you to my weekly video and blog where I feature current products from the Stampin' Up! Catalogs. And I'm actually producing these in April, posting them in May. So by the time you watch this, the catalog will be available, and you should have had it in your hands for quite a while. And so you'll get a chance to see some things that I've created from there. I want to invite you to shop my online store. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'll put the link below in the description box. And if you order online, you can find the current host code on my blog, which I'll also put a link to in the description below. And a description, you can go to a page where you can find out how to use the host code. So that will work. I send small gifts to all of my customers when they order and try to give them something. It might be a sheet of dimensionals, it might be a couple yards of ribbon, it might be, who knows, just whatever I've got. Sometimes I go as far as to be giving away retired stamp sets and dies, just all kinds of stuff. So anyway, I try to reward my faithful customers, and I may be coming up with a reward system soon anyway. So anyway, just kind of giving you a little bit of information. Let's get started. I'm using from this current annual catalog a returning stamp set called Garden Wishes. It's got some really pretty things in it. The dies that go with this set are also still available, and they are called Dandy Wishes dies. And I'll open it up so you can kind of see them. I'm going to be using one of them, and you'll see that in a moment. But it's got all kinds of stamps and dies, and they are found on the stamp set is found on page 26 of the current. No, it's not going to be on page 26. Let me look and see here. I wrote it down. 22, excuse me. Page 22 of the current catalog, and the dies are seen on page 162, so you can find those there. I'm also going to be using this returning embossing folder set called Meadow Moments. It's seen on page 155 of the current catalog, and I am using the one that has the stems and flowers and butterflies on it. So that's the one I'm going to be using. From that, then for my sentiment tag on this particular card, I'm using Hippo and Friends dies, and I am going to be using this die right here. Okay, so that's the die. I bought this die set strictly for these particular things. I didn't buy the Hippo and Friends stamp set, and I may go back and get it, but for now, that's all I have. The sentiment is going to come from Inspired Thoughts. It's seen on page 52. And then you will also see me using at least one of these bumblebee trinkets. They are just so precious. Okay, let's get started. I am using a standard with basic white base card. It is 5.5 by 4.25. I mean by 8.5, scored at 4.25 to make a side fold greeting card like that. Then I am using the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper, and you can see that on page 132. And this piece is cut 1 by 5.5, and it's going to get attached down the left-hand side of the card with Stampin' Seal. Just like that. There we go. Then I took a piece of basic white, and I cut this piece 3 by 5.25. And this is the piece I embossed with that embossing folder, the Meadow Moments embossing folder. And it too is going to go onto this piece with Stampin' Seal, and it will leave that 1/8 inch border around. Now you could cut it the same length if you wanted to, but I'm trying to just create some variety of layers and stuff, so that's why I did it that way. And so once I get the top and the bottom fairly even, then I can just lay it down because I'm butting it right up against that piece of Designer Series paper. And so there's my card front. Then I took the stamp, and I wanted it to be, I didn't want to stamp it with black and then color it. I wanted it to be color. So I am going to start, I'm going to color it with these two colors. These are the two of the new in colors. This is Pale Papaya and this is Evening Evergreen. Two really lovely colors. These new in colors go together so well. They're just really awesome. You're going to want to have them. Now, my suggestion is that when you're coloring with your markers, color with the lightest color first, and then do the darker color so that you don't bleed the darker color into your lighter colored marker or into the lighter colored portion of the stamp. So I'm going to color with the Pale Papaya first, and I'm just kind of laying this brush end down on its side and making sure that whole flower gets colored. Just like that. And then I'm going to bring in this one, same thing, I'm going to use the brush end. And just kind of, I'm going to be careful around those little flowers there and get their little leafy parts. And then I can get brave and just go for it. And we're going to be cutting this out with the die that's included in the kit, so I'm not too worried about being perfect about not getting any on the other portions of the stamp here. I just want to make sure that all of this gets colored. Okay, let's put the cap on that, and we will stamp that here. And like I say, it's going to get cut out, so I'm not trying to be... And there we go. And now, where's the die? Here's the die. So now we're going to position the die. I'm going to put a piece of washi tape on there to hold it in place so that I can try my best to keep from leaving too much white where it doesn't belong. I want to get those stems in there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to kind of hold it in place with that. Got to go off screen for just a moment and run that through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine over here and get this punched out. And then I'll bring it back. Come on, cooperate. There we go. Okay, so there's the piece I'm going to use on the front. It didn't do too bad. Sometimes if I get these too far off and I need to trim them down, I will come back with scissors and trim the edges. But I'm not a perfectionist, so you won't see me being that perfectionistic about that. Okay, then my sentiment is cut from the new Soft Succulent cardstock. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, which I told you before came from Inspired Thoughts stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it with the Evening Evergreen ink. And I'm just centering it on there. You'll notice that I put my sentiment stamp on here at an angle. That is because I find that if I try to put it on here straight, like this, straight across, that I have a harder time getting my sentiments straight and not getting them crooked. But if I put it on an angle, then I'm not using these edges to guide where I'm going. Instead, I'm looking right at the stamp itself. So I don't know, it seems to work for me. I'll share the tip. You can do with it however you choose, but let me know if it works for you. Okay, so there's those pieces. I am going to be putting those on with dimensionals. So let's get some dimensionals here. And we'll get those on here. And then I'm going to put a mini on this one because a regular one is just a little bit too big, I think. So I'm going to put a mini on that, the back of that little flower. Okay, and then that's going to go on here just at the bottom and to the side, so it covers both this edge and that. And then my Thinking of You sentiment is also going to have a couple of dimensionals on it, like this. And I'm going to tuck it kind of in here. I don't want to cover up my words. There we go for that. And then Bumblebee Trinket. I just couldn't resist. There has to be a bumblebee after this flower, and they go on beautifully with a mini glue dot. So I will stick a mini glue dot on the back of that bumblebee, and we will put him on flying down here to see what's going on. Now there's the outside of the card, and it is beautiful, I think. And if you think so too, you can let me know. Now for the inside of the card, what I did is I stamped and die cut out a second flower like that. And then I cut this piece away from it. So I have this whole fling, and I cut it apart like that. And then I also took a second piece of the Designer Series paper that's 1/4 of an inch wide by 5.5 inches long. And I am going to attach that to the inside with some liquid glue, which for me is my Zig 2-way glue pen. And I'm just gonna do that and lay that right down on the edge of the card like that. Get that to stick. And then I'm going to put this right here like this on the inside, so that there's a little bit of this loveliness on the inside as well. I kind of struggled with what to put on the inside. I wanted something in there, but I didn't want the great big flower. I felt it was too big. And I tried using the other one that was in the set, and I felt it was too big. So this is how I came up with the way to do this, is to cut it off and just use it that way. I'll save this piece because I might use it some on a different card. And so there is today's current catalog project. I made 2 of them. This is my sample that I made before I made this, so I'd know how to make it and be able to tell you everything that I used. And I do hope you had a fun time with me today. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like to become one, or would like to shop with me, feel free to send me a message, and I will get a hold of you and we can talk. It's a wonderful time to sign up in May. You get $155 worth in US, $155 worth of merchandise plus business supplies and everything, and free shipping during the month of May. So it's a really good time to sign up. And then once you're signed up, you get 20% off your orders as long as you're in the bronze category, and you can move up from there and end up getting 25%. So, you know, if you're into this as a hobby and you're really enjoying it, that'd be a good way to do it. Or if you're interested in just starting a business and maybe getting into it full time. So let me know. I'd be glad to help you figure that out. And thanks again for stopping by.